Have you been to South Florida fishing for peacock bass but just didn't catch many? There's a reason why. You're probably throwing the same lures that everyone else is throwing. You're probably throwing the big Zara spooks, the whopper ploppers, big prop baits, big swim baits. You know, they've been fished so much down here that the fish are in tune with them. They know not to eat them. Yeah, you'll still catch fish on them, but you won't catch as many as you could catch if you were trying some of the lures I'm about to show you today. If you want to catch peacock bass down here in South Florida, you need to watch this video because it's got all you need to help you maximize your catch rate on the peacock bass in South Florida. Now, most people think about big topwater baits and you know, just large profile baits to catch peacock bass, like whopper ploppers, for instance. Every client I get asks me if they can throw a whopper plopper, and yeah, some days they work great, but most of the time they don't. So if you've come down here before and just struck out, just couldn't catch any peacock bass, you know, there's a reason. Everybody's throwing whopper ploppers. Everybody's throwing regular sized Zara spooks, big jerk baits. They're throwing swim baits at them, big swim baits with treble hooks. They've seen it all. These fish, they're used to what you're going to throw at them, what your typical lure is. They've seen it. So I want to just show you some things that I've come up with to maximize my catch ratio on peacock bass. Now, I like to downsize to catch these fish. Big peacocks will hit small baits. So what I've been doing, everything that you think of that you throw that's big and that works typically, just go down on the size. That's basic. But some things you might not have thought of. For instance, little jigs. Little jigs are phenomenal for peacock bass. When they're not biting, just bounce these, drop them on the rock edges where they have beds, and they will absolutely destroy these things. So you have to hop them, you have to know how to work them, you have to cast well, you have to get it in the right spot. But these little jigs, unbelievable. Decent one on a crappie jig. Sometimes you gotta think outside the box. Whenever I think of peacock bass, I think of crappie jigs and trout lures more than anything else. Okay, on my next deal, I want to talk about little walking baits. Okay, instead of throwing the big regular size Zara spook, throw the puppy. Zara spook puppy. These things are awesome. I like silver. I like silver blue. I like white, chartreuse, and green. Those are my favorite colors for peacock bass. This is a great one that my friend painted for me. This thing kills them. Awesome bait. Also, little poppers. Phenomenal. I mean, small, tiny little poppers. If you guys are seeing me sweat, it's like 100 degrees out here today. But these things are really good. I have an assortment of these as well. Now, if you want to go even smaller on your walking baits, if the fishing's tougher than usual, I'm telling you, super light line, throw like a 10-pound braid. This thing right here, I mean, if they're not hitting this, they're not going to hit anything. These things are awesome. Little, I don't even know what brand this is. I think it's, I don't even know, Mega Bass, I believe. But, amazing little baits. Any of these little walking type baits. You can barely throw them, but if you use light line and a spinning rod, you can get them out there. And I have tiny little crankbaits. See, this is actually kind of big for what I like to throw when they're being stubborn, when they're being stingy. This is kind of a big one. I'll throw them as small as this right here. So, and that only has one hook on it. Now, if you need more weight to get it out there, just put you a split shot up above it or a little bullet weight. Little tiny rattle traps. They can't stand the noise of these things. That rattle, throw it on their beds, throw it against the rocks just like a jig and stroke it. You're gonna catch tons. All right, so you guys just saw me catch one or two on a little jig. Now I'm gonna use a tiny little rattle trap or a lipless crankbait. Got the head torpedoes, okay? This one right here is the tiny torpedo, probably my favorite. But this one, even though it's so small, you wouldn't think it'd get hit. They destroy this thing. A big peacock will eat a little tiny bait like this. This one here, awesome bait. Teeny tiny jerk bait. I will put a bullet weight on the front of this. I'll put it about, I don't know, 5 or 6 inches up above it with the bobber stopper. They will destroy this bait. Absolutely destroy it. Some of the jerk baits that you can actually throw without adding a weight would be these little Rapalas. These things, you can cast it well. This color, this blue and white, a really good color on the peacock bass. And this bait's the one you want to throw. Trust me. And my all-time favorite jerk bait would be the Mega Bass 110 Junior. Now they're pricey. I think I saw them listed for about $18, $19. But if you're going on a guide trip with me, guess what? I'm gonna have a couple of these rigged up, ready to go. Because you spending that extra money is definitely worth it. I've thrown all kinds of jerk baits. Definitely worth the money. Mega Bass 110 Junior suspending. They have all different ones. They all work, but I like this one the best. Check that one out. Downsized jerkbait. About half of the size of a regular jerkbait. About a 3.5 pounder. All right, we're gonna go old school. Inline spinners, your trout lures. Phenomenal for peacock bass. Just be reeling this along the edge of the grass line and the edge of the rocks. And these things, the peacocks are gonna follow them. If they don't eat them, you're gonna see them follow them at least. So sometimes you gotta reel them, and when you see the peacock follow them, give a little pause, and they'll smash them. But these inline spinners, really good peacock lures. Little spoons, also, you want to bounce them. I mean, you can reel them and then drop them, which works really well. But I like to jig them. I like to throw them out, let them fall, and kind of yank, jerk them off the bottom. This one's kind of big. I actually like spoons about half this size. I don't have any with me right now, but as an example, this one works too. This is a gator spoon. But try some small spoons for your peacock bass. You'll be happy you did. Again, same thing as like an inline spinner. This little George, this thing's been around forever. Man's Bait Company makes these. Great school in bass as far as largemouth bass go, lure, but peacock bass love this thing. Throw it out, just reel it, nice steady speed, got that blade spinning. Every once in a while drop it, they'll smash it. Now you're gonna think I'm crazy, but I'll throw streamers that you use for fly fishing, for trout. I'll throw these with a bullet weight on the front. The bullet weight's gonna be about 5 or 6 inches above it, with a bobber stopper, and these things are awesome for peacock bass. You wouldn't think about it, but awesome peacock bass lure. The old woolly bugger, do the same thing. Put the weight on the front and just reel it, give it a couple jerks every once in a while. Deadly. Then we have, people ask me all the time, hey, will they hit soft plastics? Will they hit flukes? Will they hit swim baits? Absolutely they will. The problem is, when you Texas rig a swim bait or a fluke or a worm, peacock bass have a hard time getting that hook because they're so fast. They hit it, they'll miss that hook. Probably 80–90% of the time they're gonna miss that hook. Depends on the size of the bait, but they'll miss that hook tons, and you don't want that. So what I do is I just rig it with an open J hook. This hook has a keeper on the front of it. This is a Trocar flipping hook. You know, this is a great hook for this. You could even go with a longer hook so that the hook comes out of the plastic further back, giving you a better chance at hooking that peacock bass, because they hit it fast and then they spit it out. So you better be ready. Same thing on my swim baits. I'll put a little jig head on the front of it. This has got a little rattle in it. But that open J hook, you need that for the peacock bass. Yes, it works great. I catch more fish, it seems, on my jigs and on my little jerk baits. But sometimes this is the lure to go to. I hope this was informative and helps you catch a lot of peacock bass. Got me a nice, about a 5-pound largemouth. Just stroking a jig out here. Good one. Always good to catch a few of these while you're peacock fishing. Hey, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you.